been contemplating all my time. My thoughts make me tired, just running through my mind. Wonder if there's peace that I could find, instead of always being on the grind. I need a new purpose, I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching, you're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy and everything seems hazy, is there some place for safety I could go? Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, you're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away. It gets so loud that I can barely hear, but your words speak much louder than all my fears. Sometimes I just wanna disappear, running until I can feel you near. I need a new purpose, I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching, you're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy and everything seems hazy, is there some place for safety I could go? Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, you're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away. in my head, romanticizing forever. Last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I would.
Here we are, day 3 in Lanzarote. The breeze is still in. It's a kind of Groundhog Day in a way, but Paprek's still leading after yesterday. Really solid day for them, really consistent. We caught up with Loic Perron, the tactician who was here in 1979 as a 19-year-old and had a great adventure. So Loic, Regatta's going well for the Paprec team for you guys?
Not so bad. After 2 days we are leading, like it was the case months ago in Cerro, so well, nothing is done. The third day, it seems to be breezy again. I could say that the French love the breeze, but not only the French, that's the problem. Sled, they are very good, and even Alpha Plus, they are very, very good, very consistent. But I think all the crews love the breeze like that, especially the downwind session. It's pretty exciting.
What do you love about it most?
Like skiing, you know, it's a bit boring to go up the mountain, but downwind, that's quite cool. Downhill.
And what have you guys got? Your fast downwind?
In terms of speed, I don't know. I don't look at the numbers. No. I look at the true wind direction, mainly and only. So not 20 plus, which is quite nice for a boat like that, but the point is not to be the fastest. The fastest is to try to never be the slowest, which is a bit different.
A couple of things. You've got Johan Richon with you this week. What difference is that making?
But he's discovering a game like I was and like I'm still doing, and we are discovering together the way to talk together. And he was struggling on the first 2 days with the system to ping the mark, and so we did quite a lot of races without any information, like we've done in Cascais a year ago, and that's interesting to prove sometimes that without any numbers, without any data, you can still survive.
Yeah. And obviously leading is a good thing at this stage. What do you need to do to close it out? What have you learned from the previous situations when you've been leading and just not quite made it?
Because I think here the wind is a lot more stable. It's very unstable, but it's still breezy. But the field is quite open. It's not so hard to read, which was not the case a month ago in Porto Cervo. I was a bit lost. Here I know mainly where to go or where to not go and how to do it. And the good thing is we've done quite a lot of mistakes, like everybody. But I knew before that there were going mistakes. There were going to be mistakes. And that's a good improvement, in fact, because to discover what you've done after and say, no, we should have done that. No, I knew. I knew before that we were doing something bad. So I'm in progress.
Another thing that you've spoken about before, but your helmsman, Cedric, is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. That's a key factor on board Paprec. Cedric is definitely a very, very impressive helmsman and skipper. The way he's overwrites any thing I would like. Sometimes I say, okay, you can do that. He say, no, I don't feel it. And I love when he say that. And I'm pushing him, since I'm on board since 3 years, to never hesitate to overwrite me. Never, 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 because you are helming. And I know when I was helming, I was also the tactician in most of the case, especially on multis, on boats super fast like that. So the best way to see something is to helm. It's really hard as a tactician when you are not helming to have the same picture. And I love it. And I love him too.
Now, the other thing, this is the first time 52 Super Series has been here in Lanzarote. You were here many, many years ago. Tell us your story.
Oh, I have an old white hair story. Bon, alors, it's a long one, but you have a point here, somewhere behind, which is named Papagayo. I didn't know that was the name at this time because my chart, paper chart I had to do the mini transat in 79. I was 19, the youngest of the mini transat. We were starting from Penzance, England, to Tenerife in Canaries, and then Antigua, West Indies. And 6.5 meters, that's the size of the boat, as we know on the mini transat. Sextant, no GPS, no Elon Musk, no whatever, no just, no, nothing. No radio, just a big VHF. And hopefully the VHF helped me to know where I was by calling cargo ships. And in fact, I was completely lost because I was between Morocco and Canaries, not exactly on the good track for Tenerife, whatever. Just arrived between these two islands, here Lanzarote, in the south Fuerteventura, here. Okay, I'm happy. The wind was from the southwest, the opposite as today. And at this time we had no electric self-steering system, no pilot, just a wind vane, system like that. Connected to the wind, for sure. And I fell asleep. And I woke up at night in front on the reef, on the shore, like that. A big cliff, as we say. But the boat was heeling a lot because I was against the wind turned. And heeling means your keel, your draft is less than when you are not heeling. And boom, stop. And I was on a big plateau with a bit of 1.5 meters of water. And stop. And what happened? And the forestay broke, the rudder came off, dropped the sail, and I removed I was sure to sink. I was sure there was no reason that I could survive here. So I dropped everything off the boat in a little cave. I spent a few hours in the caves, and the tide was coming down, so it calmed down everything. I took the little matla I had in the boat to protect the hull between the rocks. And in the morning, a little fisherman was there. I swam to the fisherman. I asked him to, and I noticed that there was far in the west a big cruising ketch. The only boat, the only sign of life. No, there was nothing here on the coast, nothing. There was a little village of fishermen in the west. Those two boats came. I swam to one and to another one, explaining to them, and you're going to have some drawings because I've done a logbook and some drawings, so you're going to have a drone view of the situation. And the other good situation was that it was impossible to tow the boat to the east. The only way was to pull on the mast with the spinnaker halyard connected to a long line the fisherman gave me, and pull on the mast like that to make the boat heel on the other side. But there was not enough water. So at some stage I was under the boat like a horse. Ouais, un dresseur, tu vois. And the boat did that, in the water, and I finished grabbing the keel because my call to the guys was, in any case, you have to pull. And he was pulling the boat, which was heeling like that, and suddenly he released. Okay, plenty of water. Jump in my little boat, no water inside, miracle. I spent 24 hours resting in the cruising boat at the mooring here.
Here?
Yeah, here in the little village here. Yeah. And then, hopefully we recovered the rudder, which was somewhere on the beach here. But the connection between the rudder and the boat, the aiguillo we call it, or the pin like that, was broken everywhere. No way to weld them. So I managed to go to Tenerife. It took me 2 days maybe. It's not far, because I had to hold the rudder like that, like Ulysses in the... That was crazy. And then, so the problem is that the organization thought I was... I disappeared. I mean, I was not anymore alive. When they saw me in Tenerife a few weeks after, they said, okay, he's back. That's fine. Bon. And I finished the race in Antigua.
Fantastic.
That was cool. Nice story. So yes, you can have the logbook. That's quite cool.
Perfect. Well done, Louis.
That's a bit long, but that's a nice story.
And let's look back to the highlights yesterday. Another big day. Welcome back to windy Lanzarote, day 2 of the Marina Rubicon Lanzarote 52 Super Series Regatta. Wind on the forecast, 18 minimum, maximum 25, 27 knots. It's going to be a great day of racing. The race 3 of the regatta, the breeze is still in it. We've got over 20 knots on the start line. Good start between Platoon and Provezza getting away off on port tack early, and on the left side of the track, Platoon and Provezza are the best. Round the top mark, Platoon are leading, but they have to wheelbarrow away. They're too close to the mark. They're going to hit the mark and they have to wheelbarrow right round, losing places. So Provezza get round in first place and extend down the first run. They've got Paprec just behind them, and suddenly Provezza lose their kite. Paprec come through to lead the race. Then Drama 2 down this first run for Sled, who lose their kite in the water. They lose places, but Paprec are impeccable, lead all the way around the course and finish with their second win in a row to lead the regatta. Alpha Plus in second, Alkedo get third, and Provezza get a good fourth place. Race 4 starts very quickly after race 3. Conditions much the same, over 20 knots on the start line still. Big waves at the leeward end of the course, and flatter water at the top end, very shifty. So off the start line, Paprec a little bit low in time and distance at the pin mark. They have to shoot round the mark and lose speed. Platoon Aviation make a much better start at the pin end of the line, get away out to the left early. Alegre and Alkedo both over the start line and have to recross. Sled make a good start from the middle of the course and do quite nicely up the first beat, but Platoon once again lead around the top mark with Sled second, Vayu third, Alpha Plus round in fourth. Down the first run where Platoon going really nicely, but they've blown a kite once again. That lets Sled through to take the lead, and Sled go on to win the race. Very close finish with Paprec just pipping Vayu on the finish line. So after 4 races at the Marina Rubicon 52 Super Series Sailing Week, Paprec, the French team, leading on 8 points, 2 points clear of Sled. Third are Alpha Plus on 15, fourth Alkedo Vitamina 16, and fifth No Way Back on 26 points.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
So welcome back to breezy Lanzarote. We had a small delay this morning because there was too much wind on the race course. We're seeing nearly 30 knots, but the good news is it's dropped sufficient. We have the fleet out and getting towards being under starters orders, but it's going to be another tough day on the water for the racers and a tough day on the water for Katie Dabson, who is down there and getting acclimatised. Katie, it looks breezy once again, it looks bumpy once again, but where are we positioned for this race course today?
Yeah, so as you're saying, it is super breezy out here. It's I think the race committee was just saying they've got around 25, 28 knots, which is pretty fresh. But the sea state is a lot flatter today. I mean, it's still super lumpy, but it's a lot more manageable than it was yesterday, in my opinion. So I think that will probably help with the big breeze. If it's a little bit lighter, a little bit flatter, that's pretty nice. But we are a little bit further west than we were yesterday, so it's a little bit kind of to the right as you're going out of the Marina. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty nice race course out here, in my opinion. It's pretty flat, or not flat, but pretty wavy, manageable. Not quite as in the lee of the big mountains, looking at the topology of the island. Yesterday, our race course was very much in the lee of the big kind of volcanoes around there, and we've got a little bit more open space in front of us looking at the shore. So I think that should hopefully give us slightly cleaner breeze on this race course.
It looks also, I mean, from our drone shot just now, the seas look a little bit more orderly, a little bit more, the chop is following the breeze, and you've got a little bit of Atlantic swell as well. Not quite as chaotic as on the easterly race course.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a lot cleaner at the moment. It's kind of maybe half the size as it was yesterday. You have still got that swell, but it's a little bit kind of a longer period out here, and the chop is a little bit less messy. Having said that, I've just got an absolute massive wave to the face. But yeah, no, it's a little bit less messy out here, which will hopefully make sailing a little bit easier for these guys today.
And what's the chat in the boat park? From what I'm hearing, everybody's or not everybody, the teams which have been breaking kites are really starting to struggle. We're looking at kites which first started their lives in 2017, 2018, 2019. That's and some teams are really getting down to the last kites in the locker, as it were.
Yeah, so I was talking to some of the guys yesterday, and I mean, obviously they're just like, please, no more kite breakages, we're running out. But I was asking kind of like, oh yeah, like why are so many kites breaking? What's the issue? Because it's a epidemic out here, and yeah, they basically don't really use the A4s very much. They don't get to see much action. I think it's just in these kind of big messy sea states, super breezy conditions where they use them. So a lot of the kites, even though they haven't got much use, they're actually quite old, so kind of 2022 kites, and even though they've not been used in storage, they kind of do degrade a little bit more than I think a lot of the teams had initially thought. So being sat in a container, even though, yeah, not much use, but lots of changes in temperature, it means that they kind of become a bit less strong, and they're more prone to breaking. So I think that's why we've seen so many breakages. But hopefully, yeah, I mean, hopefully there's enough within the fleet to be able to get everyone to the end of the regatta.
Good. And what's your forecast for the day, Katie? What have you heard?
I think, I mean, my forecast didn't have it being this breezy this early on. It had it building slightly. But I think we're already seeing kind of the top end of what I had in my forecast anyway. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe that the breeze is just coming a bit early, and then this will be us now. I think if it holds at this wind speed, and then I think we should be good to get 2 races in. I'd be a bit worried about if it built any more, but at the moment it's very much manageable. Even maybe a couple of knots increase, I think it would still be manageable. So yeah, hopefully it's looking good for 2 races out here.
So Robbie, obviously sled pushing hard behind Pat Prick. What have Pat Prick done right so far? They've had no major breakages. What's the key to their consistency, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think, Andy, that you hit the nail on the head with the no breakages so far, and also they've just been sailing clean as well in terms of the fleet. So they've always been up that front end, and then they're sort of, playing the percentages and just making sure that they're working their way through, chipping up in between the fleet. And you mentioned their boat handling's been really good, so they've just been chipping away, really, Andy.
You kind of worry for them in some respects. It's fantastic to have a 100% record in terms of no breakages, but it's really a little bit of a concern, because everybody's going to have something sometime, as we saw yesterday with sled. But there's the standings. A minute to go. Paprick are 2 points clear with that 2-1-1-4 so far. Sled 1-2-6-1 for 10 points. Alpha plus 15 points, 16 points. Alkedo 26, no way back. Platoon Aviation 26, and then it goes down. Allegre, Vayu, Provezza, Trinity, Crioula. We're just 50 seconds before the start. How's it shaping up at the moment? Robbie, it's looking like Paprick coming down towards the pin end of the line. They've got Alkedo just to weather of them. Now, this is not a great setup. They struggled yesterday just in terms of getting their positioning and their timing into the pin end of the line just perfectly. Who's at the top end of the line there, Robbie?
Yeah, we've got Crioula and Alegre, and also Trinity up at that very top end, almost shut out at that boat end. But it's quite even across the race course.
Paprec have had to tack away. They're electing finally that they're not going to make it into the pin end, so they're on port tack. This could be expensive. This could be difficult for them. We've got 10 seconds to go. Alkedo Vitamina lining up nicely at the pin end. A little bit slow for 4 seconds to go. No Way Back starting nicely in the middle of the group. We're just at 2 seconds and looks like a very, very close start. Paprec then really struggling, Katie. They're having to take a lot of sterns. Bow 9 is having to restart. That is unfortunately Pravetsa jumping ahead. A really nice start, Robbie, from sled, and this is a bad time for Paprec. Caught flat-footed, just didn't quite manage to get their time and distance and positioning right to get to the pin end of the line. We saw a great recovery yesterday from Alkedo Vitamina. I wonder whether Paprec can do the same. They're really, really deep, but they're getting themselves out to the right-hand side with Trinity. So maybe some damage limitation from them just now, but the Alkedo Vitamina made the best start. Platoon Aviation going nicely too, Robbie.
Yeah, that's right. And you mentioned sled before. They definitely look like they're the front runner out of that middle pack. You mentioned Paprec on that far right side, as we see it on the screen now. It looks like they have a nice lane, so definitely some damage minimization there. I also like the start from Platoon Aviation there. It looks like they've got nice gap to leeward, especially with Pravetsa having been over the start line. It looks like they're just a little bit bow forward on the boats to leeward.
Let's keep our eyes on the regatta leaders then. Paprec don't seem to be too bad. The slight concern for them is having Trinity underneath them, but bow number 2, 3 times world champions, Platoon Aviation going nicely. But Katie, this is all about max speed, max height in the straight drag race off the start line, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's so important to get off the start line in a clear lane, have space below you to be able to choose your mode. You don't, when it's kind of any sort of sea state, you really don't want your mode to be dictated to you by the boats around you. Because if you're trying to force yourself into a higher mode, it's really hard with the waves, because you end up forcing the boat to do things it doesn't want to do, and you can end up stalling the boat out, and then you end up in dirty air and having to tack out. And I think that's what's happened to Alpha Plus here off the line. I mean, there was quite a bunch at that pin end. I mean, as we saw Paprec, they weren't quite laying the pin end. I wonder if there was maybe a bit of a left shift off the line, or the line was just a bit more pin bias than they'd originally thought. So they had to tack out, and it was really, the boats at the pin end were going super slow off the line. Alkedo actually managing, because they're the pin end boat and they're to leeward, they're then able to sail their own modes, and they've actually managed to punch out ahead of Alpha Plus, whereas Alpha Plus, who was in a tighter lane, they kind of ended up dropping back and got almost spat out the back a little bit because of being unable to sail their own modes. So yeah, for sure, it's all about big lanes and just really trying to maximise the speed and VMG to the mark at this point.
Great summary, Katie, but I think you're possibly hit the nail on the head and a little bit of a lefty coming off the line, perhaps. Certainly Alkedo seem to be quite low on starboard, but they should start to benefit now. Correspondingly, over that left or right side of the track, we're seeing Trinity and Paprec really coming away quite nicely, despite the fact that Paprec took those sterns. They potentially still ahead of sled. It's going to be a great race to follow. This is, of course, getting into the midpoint of the season, the midpoint of the regatta, race number 5, and this could be pivotal for the regatta. No Way Back getting away quite nicely. Robbie, who in terms of lanes, who do we like?
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of Sled's lane. Obviously, they're bow forward on the boats further to the right of them. Also, No Way Back have a really nice lane. They've just got a lot of distance between them and Sled underneath them. But it's interesting to note also, Andy, that I'm seeing Platoon sort of fill that same strategy that they had in the past couple races yesterday. They just come off that middle lane. Yeah, exactly, that middle left, and they're just out, with a clear lane on port. And we see those boats also out the far right, just getting onto port, which has made a bit of a difference for them.
But as Katie said, conditions look to be a little bit more manageable in terms of the sea state. We're seeing a little bit less hobby horsing, but a nice setup just now for Alkedo Vitamina. They have been one of the kind of star performers of the week so far. 2/3 yesterday, along with Alpha Plus, who got 2 seconds. These Alpha Plus and Alkedo Vitamina really locked on similar points. They're 15 and 16 at the moment. Back on board with our French team with Jérôme Naquet, our runner trimmer, and on board action cameraman embedded in the middle of the team, managing to give us these great pictures. There's the projected standings. If things stayed the same, they would actually be taking another point off sled, but Robbie, I certainly was not expecting that when Paprec had to bail out from the pin end of the line.
Yeah, really amazing to see how they've sort of caught back up. We mentioned they've got a lane on that port tack, which is very, very important for all of these teams. And yeah, it's amazing to see them currently in third place in this race after dipping everyone off that start line pretty much.
Teasing machine we're just looking at just now, they're quite deep in this racetrack for the moment. They had a few moments in the last couple of days when they were in the mix, as it were, but they're kind of struggling a little bit. Of course, for those of you who maybe have not been following the racing, Gladiator lost their forestay and will be taking no further part in the regatta as far as we know. They have the mast down and are looking to find a solution. Meantime, on that right side of the track looking upwind, Trinity and Paprec going really nicely. Watching just how the trails vary upwind, but for sure perhaps the breeze a little bit more settled in terms of the shift and wind velocity. No way back. I'm actually really liking how they've come off the line. Nice solid open lane, got away from the start nicely, and as always with Terry Hutchison and Lucas Calabresi in this case, Katie just keeping things, keeping their options open, not pushing the risk, not going to any particular side so far in this race, Katie.
Yeah, and I think that's, if you've got lanes in the middle, I think that's not a bad place to be. I mean, the worst place you can possibly be is in the middle, being bounced around and having to put in heaps of manoeuvres and kind of not finding a lane, being tacked on. I think you've got actually, like, the majority of the fleet are kind of more middle of the track. Paprec and Trinity looking good at the moment out on that right-hand side. If there was a left shift off the line, then they will have been on the kind of the lifting tack earlier. So they may have been able to bank that gain. It is a risk splitting from the fleet like this and being that far out on a limb, on an edge. So coming back is going to be really about managing kind of what shift you come back on and really picking the time to come back, because it's kind of, yeah, you pick the right time, they might be able to get the cross in the fleet. Having said that, it looks like they've both actually gone back now. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see where they come back. But the middle is definitely safer. And as you say, kind of no way back, really managing that middle quite well, managing to keep their lane clear and kind of in a controlling position in the fleet at the moment.
So we're just watching the deltas changing all the time. Paprec and Trinity coming back, Robbie, but not on a great angle, I wouldn't say, but they do have good separation.
Yeah, it seems like I guess they picked their moment to tack, so they obviously potentially see something in it. They're definitely not on lay line, so they're just bringing the game back into the middle of the fleet, but it'll be interesting to see, like Katie mentioned, just how they come back and sort of what angle they're at. Just looking at the meters between the boats, doesn't look like it's fluctuating too much, so I think it'll be quite close. And I think for the boats in here, looking at Vayu, I think that'll be a nice controlling position once they do actually sort of enter this convergence of the boats.
Interesting sled, very much in the mix, but a few more boats showing well. Some of the teams which have had technical problems, Trinity Racing have had more than their fair share of problems so far. They're going well in this race. Platoon Aviation have been up the front, or in the top 2, top 3 yesterday, until they blew out these kites. But Trinity looking solid out there, just to weather of Paprec. Johan Richomme just monitoring the ley line into the top mark.
Yeah, I think Trinity picked a really nice time to come back. I think most of the fleet are now tacking over onto starboard, so potentially a bit of a right-hand shift now. And I think Trinity are taking full advantage of it as we see them just to weather there of Paprec. They're doing a really nice job of just sort of bringing it back into the middle and controlling the game.
Indeed, watching sled though, they're on that left side with Alkedo, Vayu in the middle. No way back. It's going to be interesting. I say no way back. So kind of risk averse, or generally fairly conservative in their tactics. And at the moment, they're kind of sixth. But we'll kind of watch that. They really haven't been able to take the places that they normally would expect of them as quantum, or as indeed no way back in previous regattas we've seen them able to take places, to pick boats off here and there. Haven't quite managed to do that so far this regatta, but they have a little bit of a gap to Alkedo Vitamina. They're in fifth at the moment. They have 10 points to make up to get to Alkedo. And then Platoon Aviation having to tack underneath the starboard tacker Alkedo. So that's expensive for Platoon at the moment, not able to get onto that right side of the course. Robbie?
Yeah, it's a tough one. You just sort of have to concede now. You just hope you do a nice tack, and you still have a lane out on the starboard, which seems to be the favoured board for the minute. So, yeah, just a tough one for them. They just couldn't quite cross, and it just means they just got their sort of fate dictated to them.
Meantime, Alkedo going back. But Kitty, these are the difficult moments in the middle of the track. If you're not able to hold your lane, then you start in a fleet, even with 13 boats or 12 boats. In fact, you really start to get bounced around, and every tack, every manoeuvre in this breeze and this sea state is costly, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's a really hard position to be in on that. Or if you're kind of stuck out on the left-hand side of the fleet, you've got to make the decision whether you try and tack and duck the fleet, but then obviously you have the risk of the fleet tacking on top of you, and that's kind of what's happened with Allegri. They were kind of like, right, we don't want to be out here, we're going to tack over, but now they've got sled and platoon and kind of Alkedo all kind of tacked pretty much somewhere around their line, and they're very much going to be affected. Or you make the decision to, okay, we're going to carry on out to this left-hand side and wait until we've got a clear lane, but then are you sailing away from the gain? So it's a really tricky position to be in. I think for me, looking at this race course and the kind of trends in what the fleet's doing, it's a different kind of race course to yesterday. Yesterday we had a lot more kind of shifty, flicky breeze, whereas today it's a bit more kind of phasey, so you've got slightly longer shifts. And I think actually being on the lifted tack off the start line, as Trinity and Paprec were, I think has really paid off for them. And I think they've managed to stay in phase with the shifts. And yeah, it's just kind of, it might get a bit shiftier as we get up to the top of this course, because we are a little bit closer to the shore. But at the bottom is very much, I think, kind of getting in phase with the longer shifts.
That's right. I mean, one thing Trinity have done well is just pick that side, Robbie, haven't they? They've made I think they've made one tack so far, letting the boat do the work, letting Joachim Sundberg settle and drive. He's a fantastic helmsman in terms of sticking to the numbers, great concentration. And the powerhouse grounders at the back of the boat, they're big Andy Axelson, pushing the pumps and getting settled after that tack. Vayu have done very nicely, Robbie, haven't they? They've just kept it simple, I think.
No, they've definitely worked their way up, and especially through that middle as well, which is really tough to do. You mentioned Trinity went out to that right-hand side, and you see where they are now, but Vayu have just come from the middle of the fleet, so really nice, just choosing their moments on when to tack and when to do their manoeuvres, but then also not getting caught up with the boats as well. So they've really come through that fleet nicely, and they're just on the left-hand edge of this Trinity Racing.
Katie, not wanting to oversimplify things, but this is very much the trademark moves, the hallmarks of Trinity Racing, starting towards the boat end of the line, going right. We saw that working for them in Porto Cervo. I mean, the geometry, the wind speeds are completely different, but they have a fast boat. Joachim steers the boat quickly. They've got a great setup. Then don't get involved.
Yeah, and I think it's a safe way of racing, but it's also it's an effective way of racing. I mean, staying clear from all the other boats, and especially if it is kind of, if it's one-sided racing, or if it is kind of longer staying in phase with the shift racing. That's a really powerful way of racing, and you just don't engage with other people and you just race your own race, and it means that you can get these leads that we're seeing on Trinity at the moment. I mean, that's for a first upwind. They've done a really nice job, and they just kind of seem to be extending their lead by keeping it super simple and being able to sail the boat fast. And as you say, if they've got a fast boat and trusting that they've got a fast boat and kind of really trying to like stay away from the traffic and maximise their boat speed just to gain meters on the fleet around them.
It's kind of funny to then jump on board Platoon Aviation, Robbie, because they're kind of almost the opposite of that, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. They definitely, sort of pick their times to go, and they're very, combative with other boats and wanting to be in and around. You see them do another tack now, so that's a couple manoeuvres, but necessary for them if they sort of want to play the game in between the boats. It's definitely a different style of racing.
Different style of racing, trying to make all this, I kind of add up all the small gains, but unfortunately in this case they're kind of going backwards, having to duck a couple of boats. You can see dropping the main sheet and the Traveller just to get behind Alkedo Vitamina, getting out to the right. They want to get to the right and get to the towards the ley line. Just see them there going round the back of Alkedo. Now this is going to be interesting for these group of boats coming in from the left side looking upwind, Katie, isn't it? We've seen this set up before. Flat water now, gusty breezes. But Trinity really set up beautifully out on that right side, and a whole cluster of boats going to be coming back on port. Katie, you talk us through it.
Yeah, I was literally just watching that, and I think I would not want to be out there. There was 4 boats all coming in kind of on port. Alkedo's done a super nice job. They were the most right-hand boat of them all, and they have held the other 4 boats out past the ley line for the protector mark, which means that they've kind of managed to come in front, and boats like Vayu, who were very much up at the front of the fleet, have now kind of gone straight to the back of the fleet because they've been pinned out so aggressively by the boats inside them, and that's not a position you want to be in. It's opened the door for all those boats on starboard to come in. So Paprec and Vayu especially really hurting from being pinned out for the ley line for the protector mark. But Trinity just gone round the windward, actually got a pretty comfortable lead, I think. Yeah, as you would expect from that upwind, it's really nice. And then Alkedo actually managing to come in second round the windward, followed by I think it's Platoon from what I can see. Super nice beats from all of those 3, but really, really tight in from second to kind of the back of the fleet. It's all super tight and plenty to play for on this downwind.
It did, as you said, Katie, Paprec just losing out there, along with, or certainly Paprec of our regatta leader just losing out in the cluster, trying to get round, obviously Vayu as well. That was the other boat. The Paprec and Vayu were super close at one point, but trying to get in round that protector mark cost Vayu in particular ending up going from 3rd, I think probably to 10th. No such problems for the cool, calm and collected Swedes. Bow number 3, Trinity, runners up in the World Championship. They are launched and coming down here beautifully. Alkedo Vitamina not quite as able to didn't seem to quite get settled and going for the early jibe. Sled taking time to settle, but nicely positioned. Actually, Platoon Aviation came out of that quite nicely, Robbie, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did a really nice job of managing that. They were in the bunch, but they were sort of in the bunch to sort of dictate where they wanted to go, and they did do a really nice job. You just saw them there just sort of rolling over Alkedo Vitamina, and that just meant they had to get forced out to jibe.
Paprec having to do 2 jibes there. I think they were jibing, or decided they were jibing away, and then at the last minute having to jibe back. So that's costing them their in the lee of the boats to weather and with their kites. So this is really quite difficult moments for Paprec. No way back, beautifully launched. They have a good lane, good pressure for the moment. Just Peter Harima just keeping the bow up and riding above Alpha Plus. Interesting then, a penalty for Vayu which was obviously that situation with Paprec, Robbie, coming into the protector mark.
Yeah, that's right. They just sort of got stuck underneath Paprec, and Paprec sort of started their attack but didn't fully go through it, and Vayu thought they were going to attack, so they sort of put it through head to wind, and Paprec were on the starboard boat. So yeah, tough spot for Vayu there, getting the penalty.
Tough spot for Vayu, tough spot for Paprec at the moment. Their kind of saving grace, as it were, is that Sled are in fourth, so certainly Sled not running away with this race, or not among the top three so far. Alkedo Vitamina about 100 metres ahead. Allegri doing better in this race. And Platoon Aviation very much in the mix, but really we're seeing the best of Trinity.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier about how, I guess, less is more, and they're keeping it very, very simple. They've done one jibe down this run, and they're in a really nice sort of low position inside of the second place boat, being Alkedo Vitamina, and they're sailing really, really nicely, and hopefully they just do a nice simple drop, and I'm sure they'll be carrying it on.
Just watching how they're using the waves there. There was quite a violent helm movement, but there's a little bit more swell there in terms of being able waves that are able to ride. And Joachim just getting a little bit of instruction there. You can see that very nicely there, just getting onto the wave, riding it on the quarter. All about coordination between the trimmers and the helmsman, and where the tactician wants the boat to go. Using the gusts, it's essential to call the gusts as they come in. But there you go, the projected point standings at the moment. Sled would be on 14, Alkedo Vitamina 18, and Paprec dropping to third on 19. Alpha Plush and 22. Platoon Aviation, I think, will be moving up the leaderboard today if they can avoid any big problems.
Wow, looks fun out there. You see on board with Trinity there, yeah, they just bow up, and you mentioned it, just surfing around those waves, and everyone at the back of the boat. It looks like a very enjoyable time.
Indeed it does. Just watching Alkedo Vitamina have done nicely since the top mark. They just took a little bit of time to settle, as did Sled. But for the moment, Paprec have work to do. Down in 11th. They really haven't been able to impose themselves in this race so far, Katie, have they?
No, and I think you can see them fighting for it. I mean, on the upwind, they were so close to being in a good position, but then got pinned out of that protector mark, kind of forced to the back of the fleet by not being in control of the situation. And then on the downwind, it just kind of looked like they were swallowed by all the boats around them. They've actually, I think, made probably quite a sensible decision to kind of split a bit from the fleet, get some clear breeze, reset a little bit, and then hopefully come back into the fleet and be able to kind of, use their speed that we know they have in these conditions and sail around everyone. But yeah, they're not, I think, having a tricky race by their standards in this stuff, I think, at the moment.
Indeed, it was interesting, yes. Just talking to Stefan Neve, the project manager and main sheet trimmer yesterday, he said, well, we know that at some stage we're going to have problems or we're going to struggle. We just need to be able to adapt to that as a team, take it in our stride and keep pushing. Not let it upset us, and at the moment they're doing their best. There's certainly, I think, something in the decision making. Maybe they had a technical problem, Robbie, when they certainly seem to have decided to jibe away along with Alkedo at the same time, and then they came back, so maybe they had a problem.
Yeah, tough spot. I mean, you wouldn't pick that if everything was going right, I wouldn't think. So yeah, potentially a bit of an issue on board there, but like you mentioned, all these teams are going to have issues throughout this regatta, so I guess it's just the team that can do the best job of executing how to fix things and setting up for the next step, and these world-class sailors are definitely primed to do that.
Indeed they are. Just a nice jibe there from Trinity. Just taking their time, not pressing the boat too hard through the jibe. Best result so far this week was a 4th on race 2, but otherwise they have a 12th, a 10th and an 8th So this would be the opportunity for Trinity to start moving up the leaderboard. They're in 10th at the moment.
Yeah, they got a nice lead on the fleet, and as well the second place, third place and fourth place are all very tight as well, so they'll just be fighting a wee bit, slowing each other down. I think that'll give Trinity a bit more breathing space as they come down into this gate.
It's kind of funny because you get so many different camera angles and everything else, you suddenly start thinking, well, actually it's not as windy, and then you move to another angle and it looks full on. How much wind do you think you've got, Katie?
Oh, it's a really tricky one to say when you're going downwind because it feels like nothing when you're in a rib. But yeah, I don't think there is as much as yesterday. If I were to guess, maybe around 18.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah.
Maybe 20. It's not as like full nuke as yesterday, but it's still, I mean, breezy enough for the boats to be fully powered up and sending downwind. It's kind of, I mean, it's pretty glam actually, honestly. I mean, there could be a bit more sunshine, but yeah, it's epic sailing conditions out here.
I think you've had your sunshine in LA, Katie.
There's never enough sunshine, Andy.
Anyway, sun is shining for Trinity Racing at the moment. They're leading by over 250 metres ahead of Alkedo. Alkedo really pushing hard in this regatta. And Platoon Aviation battling with Sled. Nice drop from Trinity Racing. Kite getting away, dropping nice and early, Robbie, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Nice fluid drop from them, nice and early, and then also their easiest manoeuvre, just doing the drop and then just rounding up into a right turn. So keeping it simple, less is more for this team, and they're doing a nice job. It looks like the boats behind them are also setting up for this right-hand turn, which is interesting. So I think if Trinity Racing can just get away cleanly, as we see on board with Alkedo, Vitamina. Oh, these are the three boats coming down, dropping their kites, and it looks like Platoon actually choosing to go to that far left-hand turn. So interesting choice there. They just didn't want to get too caught up, but a bit of distance to actually get to that mark, Andy.
Indeed, they're just going to go to the right-hand mark looking upwind, and actually maybe slightly skewed in our camera angle, but maybe the right-hand mark is a little bit closer to the windward mark. But the key thing for Harmula Spear and the Platoon Aviation team is getting an open lane once they get through these first kites. So we've got Allegri going to that right-hand mark as well. Just watching the different angles, actually look at the different angles between Alkedo. Alkedo have actually struggled a bit since they've come round that leeward mark, still settling up very dotty, bumpy conditions. Meantime, Platoon Aviation have been sailing high and hard.
Yeah, interesting to see Alkedo Vitamina electing to go for the immediate tack around that mark. Obviously, a bit of a more difficult manoeuvre for them, and especially in this chop as well. So I guess they're priority one.
The wakes of the boats which are just coming down downwind into the mark. It's disturbed air and disturbed water.
Yeah, that's right. They definitely want to get on that port board as soon as possible. So that it just indicates that they're definitely in a left phase at the moment. And I think, more power to Trinity Racing now.
Indeed. Trinity certainly say a little bit higher than Platoon on that right side on our tracker. So it'll be interesting. Certainly more manageable conditions by the looks of things than we've seen in the last couple of days, the first 2 days here in Lanzarote. Sled in fourth, pretty close to Platoon Aviation in terms of timing round the leeward gate. But it's going to be an interesting beat watching in particular how Platoon fare against Sled. Sled to the left of Platoon on this upwind. Bowman and Trinity just sorting things out, getting tidied up, Robbie.
Yeah, just, everyone's comfortable, everyone's locked in, hiking as hard as they can, so just gives a bit of time for the bowman just to clean things up. And, it looks like they've got a controlling position, so you're able just to have that time and space to be able to do those things to be set up for the next move.
Anyway, Trinity have come out to this left side, keeping, as we said so many times, keeping things fairly simple. Just trying to minimise the manoeuvres. Let this quick boat, the newest boat in the fleet, only launched in the spring, just a few weeks before the first regatta of the season in the Puerto Portals, but if we all remember, won a race on the first days of its life on the race course. So Paprec quite separated out from the boats in front of them. Let's have a quick look at the projected standings again, if we could. We're on the second beat of race 5 here at the Marina Rubicon, Lanzarote 52 Super Series Sailing Week. Third regatta of the season. Sled leading on 14, 4 points up on Paprec. Alkedo Vitamina now just 1 point behind. And then Alpha Plus dropping just a little bit on by virtue of being in 8th in this race. In the meantime, Platoon Aviation I think have finished in the podium both of the first 2 regattas of the season, so they have a little bit of a work to do, but it would be no surprise for the 3 times world champions to be back on the podium here. We're only reaching the halfway point of the regatta right now in this race, in theory. Certainly in terms of breeze, we can be pretty sure that this regatta will deliver enough wind to race. The potential is possibly for too much wind on Saturday, but we're going to wait and see. The forecasts change so quickly for this relatively remote island group out in the Atlantic. So yeah, then there we go. Platoon Aviation have done quite well on that right side, Robbie, haven't they, so far?
Yeah, I was just having a look at also Alkedo. Like they're both on that right-hand side, and we mentioned about Alkedo doing that immediate tack around the gate mark, which was a costly maneuver, but it looks like they're actually doing a really nice job to get out to that right-hand side. It seems like it's a real drag race between these teams. I mean, if the first upwind's anything to go off, I think Platoon will, like how they are. They're in clean space and they're heading out to that right-hand side. So it'll be interesting to see how they come up as we go on board with them. It looks like they're just in a nice mode. We see the trackers as well. They look on a nice angle there, Andy.
They do indeed, and certainly the main thing is they're minimising the manoeuvres since the lowered mark. Able to kind of take a leaf out of Trinity's book, as it were, at this precise moment. And they have a little, there's really nothing in it between Platoon and Alkedo Vitamina.
Yeah, Alkedo just that little step in, just further in the middle of the course. So, any sort of shift, they won't be as affected. But, yeah, a bit of a, a bit of a dice, not a dice roll, but a bit of a decision time for Team Platoon to come back on, and when they time to tack over, and it looks like they've just done that now.
So good little match race just now between Alkedo and Platoon Aviation. Alkedo deciding to attack. I think probably Platoon have just got the pace. Meantime, Sled going back at them. But you could get a very good perspective on Trinity Racing's lead. Looking at the speeds going back upwind there, we could just look at that again. Interesting. Platoon quick over 10 knots. 9.7 for Alkedo, 9.1 for Trinity. Trinity, I think, probably sailing a little bit higher. And Sled taking 2 sterns here, going behind Alkedo Vitamina and also Platoon.
Yeah, you're right about these different shots and how it looks sort of on the water with the wind, doesn't it? I mean, it definitely looks flatter, but the aerial shot, it seems a little bit calmer in terms of wind pressure, but then we see it now. It does still look like it's up there, so potentially up and down pressure as well, Andy.
It's definitely getting a little bit lighter towards the windward mark and flatter, is it, Katie?
Yeah, I think as you're saying, I think it's just a little bit up and down. I think there is some light. I think, yeah, as you would expect to be just closer to the shore. I think it's a bit bigger gust to lull ratio. Probably get a bit more shifts, but yeah, the gusts are still pretty punchy. And it is, yeah, a little bit flatter up here, but it's not even a fraction of what it was yesterday, which is making for a completely different race course, as well as the fact we're in a different place.
Indeed, when we've got these three boats side by side, Paprec, the two French boats, Paprec and Teasing Machine, Allegra to windward. It's going to be tough for Paprec. Need to take places, need to get up the leaderboard, try and limit the damage to their lead. Sled will take the lead of the regatta, I think, for the first time, potentially at the end of the day, but let's wait and see.
Not surprising to see Trinity tack over on the other two competitors there, just sort of, you know, shutting the race down even more, and they're just getting back into that middle end of the course. It looks like Platoon had to tack off there, a bit of a tight lane for them. So yeah, it's Trinity just doing a really nice job of tacking on their closest competitors. You see them in the background there as they go past.
Just staying in phase with the boat immediately behind, but they have a comfortable lead. But it's all just a little bit less frenetic today, back to getting a few seconds, a few moments to be able to prepare a strategy, keep the head out of the boat, and just watch. Vasco's very good in these conditions.
They've been sailing very, very well for me these past 3 days, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Just had their moments on having.
That's it. They've sailed fundamentally. They've sailed well tactically, strategically, in their execution. They've been unlucky to lose these kites because they've been in great positions. But it's kind of woulda, shoulda, coulda from that perspective. And from this race, showing that Sled are not having it all their own way, not able to just impose themselves in each and every race. So too the case for Paprec. So, I say middle of the regatta, middle of the season. Interesting. Lots of food for thought. Trinity really have sailed immaculately, having made that start.
Yeah, just going back to your point on Sled, I mean, they're currently in 4th place. If they did finish that way, that's still a really, really good race result, right? So
we always talk about Terry Hutchison's objectives to be finishing in a bigger fleet. I mean, in the 14, 15 boat fleet, 16 boats we saw in Porto Cervo, it was kind of 5th or better. Here it's probably 4th and better. In each race they'll win you the regatta, but the main thing is to avoid the big double digits. And from that perspective, Paprec really may be able to live with this double digit this time, but the pressure mounts on them. The pressure builds for the second race. They need to get their mojo back.
Interesting that Trinity just gave Platoon just a little bit of leverage there, so they're just coming back now. It looks like Trinity will still keep their nice lead, but just going into the thoughts on their strategy and things, potentially just playing a bit more of the shifts rather than directly covering their competitors. So just a bit of difference in strategy and tactic there.
Meantime, Alkedo attacking. Definitely a kind of oscillating breeze at the moment, Katie, by the looks of things.
Yeah, I think so, and I think this second beat's kind of like confirmed for me what kind of a day it is. It is a oscillating shifts day. It's kind of staying in phase with the shifts, and that was really kind of almost proven to me at the leeward marks. For me, it looked like Platoon would have had mark room on Alkedo on that right-hand mark looking downwind, but they instead opted to go for the other mark. And I wonder if that was because they did see a big left shift, and they were like, right, we want to start this second upwind in phase with the shifts, so getting onto that port tack quicker by going around the correct mark, whereas Alkedo kind of had to do that early tack, one more manoeuvre to get onto that shift. But I thought that was a really interesting situation at the lewards to give up potentially mark room for that shift. But it seems to have kind of paid off for them, and they've been able to stay in shift. But yeah, Trinity is a tricky one for Trinity when you've got Alkedo and Platoon both kind of neck and neck behind you, but
They're going
are
at each other
split
from different
each other.
sides of the
It's a
course,
really-
yeah.
Yeah, it's really tricky to know which one to cover, and I think, as Robbie was saying, them just kind of sticking to their own race and trying to stick to sailing being on the correct shift for them, I think, is what they seem to be doing, and the most powerful thing they can do, because you can't control all the boats around you. You can't control what they do. What you can kind of do in these situations when you're leading and you've got a split behind you is just sail the fastest way to the mark, essentially.
Interesting there, Robbie, just watching Vasco calling Alkedo through. Alkedo crossing. I think they obviously wanting to get back to the left.
Yeah, that's right. A bit of a, sort of tacking duel there, and you mentioned it. They just let Alkedo just go through, so they don't want any issue with them. And I think Platoon just might want this bit of the left-hand side, which did pay for them up this the first time they went around this top mark, Andy.
Indeed, but it's all about timing coming into this top mark. You don't want to be coming in on port, certainly not against Alkedo and Alkedo on starboard, but it's close. Really nothing in it at the moment, but Trinity Racing's lead not quite as big as it was. No big gains or losses through the fleet at the moment. Robbie, really, is there, even with this shift pattern? Nobody making significant gains or significant losses. Teasing Machine certainly having a better race today in 6th.
Yeah, it has been quite consistent. Definitely up the top, and then also in the middle of the fleet. So that's interesting to see. I guess all these teams sort of playing the shifts in what they have. There's, especially under this lee of the island there, with this shift pressure we have, it's different veins of pressure for different boats. So they're all sailing as best they can in their sort of vein of pressure, and it's interesting to see how the middle pack has just really stayed consistent.
Interesting, certainly a better looking result for the moment. Interesting, big header there for Trinity, I think, just losing a boat length or a boat length and a half, or just certainly a little bit, but not under any massive pressure. This is battle is really between Platoon and Alkedo. Actually, Allegri have got themselves back into this quite nicely, in 4th for the moment. Better race for them.
Yeah, we see here Trinity Racing, and then just to the left-hand side as we look at it is Team Sled. So there looks like they'll be probably nicely set up on that ley line. You saw just then Platoon Aviation ducking underneath Alkedo Vitamina, so a bit of a gain in their next encounter for Alkedo. And I'm not sure how it looks like on the ley lines, but if they have to do less manoeuvres, Alkedo Vitamina that being, then they definitely take a little gain out of that, Andy.
Possibly, but it's all about coming back from that left side, looking upwind for Allegri, for example. Katie, how are you seeing the approach to the top mark, second time up?
Yeah, I think for me, Alkedo is not quite on this ley line. As Robbie was saying, Platoon made a bit of a gain. If it is a kind of a close duck, like if you're ducking someone, it doesn't necessarily mean you're behind, because at the next, if they've got 2 more manoeuvres to do to your 1, then they're probably going to end up behind you. So I think really nice job by Platoon, kind of carrying on past Alkedo for the ley line. Alkedo just tacking up now. That looks a bit of carnage there with Alkedo and Allegri actually just tacking inside
and
of Platoon.
Sled, inside the Platoon. Sorry.
Yeah, they looked. Yeah, inside Platoon, it just looked super tight. I was wondering if they were about to crash into each other. But yeah, I think Allegri done a really nice job there of getting back into it, and I think they might have actually just jumped in front of Platoon as well. Clearly, just staying on the right shift at this top. The top is really powerful. It looks like, for me, Alkedo might potentially get him round in front with also got Sled rolling over the top of Platoon as well, potentially, if they can get in front. Platoon having a bit of a tricky time just being spat out the back of this group at the moment. It's tricky for them.
It is, but that's one of the things coming in on port on this particular setup. Alkedo not only getting away, but putting a boat and potentially two boats between themselves and Platoon, as the rest of the fleet come in, looking there at Paprec, a little bit lost and lonely towards the back of the fleet, unfortunately. Allegri really nice upwind, got in phase with the shifts, and managed to sail their own race for that particular point. But Allegri coming up to third. Then sled fourth, Platoon Aviation. We thought Platoon were going to be second around that top mark, Robbie at one point. Teasing Machine in sixth.
Yeah, tough for Platoon Aviation there. I think they just potentially did a couple too many tacks, or a couple more tacks than their competitors, and I think they just got a bit caught up in that. Yeah, tough position with sled coming in on starboard, and the other boats just sort of undercutting them on that ley line there.
Anyway, there we go. Trinity Racing, interesting point. Three owner drivers, 1, 2, 3 at the moment in this race. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So top 8, we have 6 owner drivers. And a great battle now between Andy Soriano and Andrea Lacorte. And the pressure is on for Vayu 36 for Alkedo Vitamina. Really launched another penalty for Vayu, I hear, on the approach this windward mark. A little bit of deja vu in some respects compared to the first windward mark. Vayu getting a penalty, and Trinity Racing streaking away, opening up ground, opening real estate between them and the fleet. Great trimming, great control, great positioning from Trinity. Ross Halcrow, America's Cup winning, Ocean Race winning trimmer, joined the Trinity Racing from Platoon Aviation.
Really rare to see Paprec at the back there, Andy.
It's unusual for this regatta, but say they need to just debrief as quickly as possible.
You see just on the halyard of Trinity there, it's just about a metre off, so not at full hoist, but they won't be too worried about that, as they definitely do have a big lead, and a beautiful drone shot of the boats behind them. You see all the boats very wicked up and very in control and working these waves down as we have a look on board Platoon Aviation. Really nice.
Javier de la Plaza on the spinnaker, going downwind there, looking with a white hat. So great fun downwinds once again. Teams really loving this as this venue delivers. So Allegra then up to third. Paprec have actually dropped a place relative to Crioula, so this is proving to be a little bit of a bogey race for the French team, which were leading the regatta.
Bit of a wobbly jibe there from Trinity as well, just taking a while to get that kite set.
Just driving in a little bit of a lull as well, just looking out to weather. There's a big gust coming down from the high right, looking upwind. But they're well clear. 280 meters clear.
Yeah, you'd expect them just to keep it simple and just be one jibing into the finish, but I think more of the race is here as we see it. You mentioned it, Andy Soriano just really trying to surf the wake of Alkedo Vitamina there. Bit of a difference in the wheels and the tiller, respectively, on each of these boats as well.
On board then with Allegra there, big Sebastian Ten Hag, the Swedish project manager on the pumps for the moment. Andy Soriano doing a great job steering downwind as they go into their jibe. Platoon Aviation on their hip. Settling. Trimmer just bringing the kite on but not pulling the boat over. Teasing Machine getting themselves up to 5th. They made one gain on this run already. So important, Robbie, for teams like Teasing Machine, who have struggled at times to be kind of inspired by the odd good result. They have the ability. It's just putting together a series, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, and you see them up in 5th at the moment, so they're definitely, the talent and the performance is there. You mentioned just potentially a bit of inconsistency and just sort of putting a whole event together, and you know, they're definitely on that top bunch when they can, and yeah, no, they're sailing nicely. It's just sort of putting it together like we mentioned.
On board then with Trinity. Ed Baird there hanging on to the guardrail with one hand, just keeping an eye on what's happening with the breeze ahead of them as they come down towards the finish line.
Interesting to note there that Sled have picked up a point, or picked up a place just on Team Alegre there, so I think they're the furthest on the left hand side as we look at your screen now. I think they're sort of battling it out with Alkedo, so a bit of a game potentially for Team Sled, our you know, our front runner as well.
Indeed, but no problems for Trinity Racing at the moment. Came good in the really came good in the second half of the World Championships in Porto Cervo, finishing with double victories, 2 wins. In fact, in Porto Cervo, the Trinity started with a 10th and a 13th and a 12th in their scoreline, but they went 4-3, 1-1 in the last 4 races in Porto Cervo at the World Championships, just missing out the world title by 2 points to Sled.
Yeah, it's amazing to see a new team and a new boat come together like that at a World Championships, and yeah, really positive signs, and they've definitely taken the confidence into this racing.
They have it, of course, as they've said many times this season already, the ability and experience and the delivery of Ed Baird is absolutely critical. A great choice of a tactician, fundamental to this project, which has been all about fast-tracking Joachim Sundberg and his core Swedish team, relatively inexperienced. Certainly, say Joachim only started Grand Prix sailing a couple of years ago. Spent the winter training in Mallorca. Started off with they trained through the winter in Cape 31. They started off with just 1 boat and 2 boats, and then by the end of the spring they had, I think, 4 or 5 boats working with them. But here they go then. They've had a tough regatta so far, but that's a win, and a well-deserved win, executed nicely off the start line, kept it simple, and scored their first win here in Lanzarote. Alkedo Vitamina going to get second. Again, hard earned, hard won. Really a product of good tactics, good speed, good execution. And then Sled Robbie coming through, I think, for third. Just working to the finish line, making good calls. I mean, in the end, they're quite far ahead of Alegre and Platoon Aviation, so places is changing all the way from the top mark. Then we see Teasing Machine will get 6th.
Yes, they're doing a nice job of, you know, we obviously know that they're the standard in this fleet, and they did a nice job just keeping at the front of the pack, and then we just saw them pick up a place, which is very, very important as we head through the middle of this event, Andy.
Indeed, and No Way Back coming through, I think probably 7th. Just not able to take places, I keep saying.
Here we see Paprec just having a little bit of trouble potentially with their kite, and we see Alpha Plus coming sort of from that left-hand side looking upwind, and looks like they're going to take 8th place.
So it's a difficult afternoon so far for the Paprec team. Provetza, isn't it? They're surfing into a big jibe, actually jibing just in front of Paprec. That's not a great position to be in. completing their jibe, but Paprec might just be able to get through, in fact get through ahead of Preveza, and Crioula coming through just behind. Paprec on starboard, of course. Preveza coming in important, jibing just above them, so we'll wait and see. I think there's been a protest from both boats. How would you interpret that one, Robbie?
Yeah, it looked like Preveza did leave that jibe very late. You know, they were the giveaway boat, so they do have to give space and time to Paprec to avoid if they are sort of in that close confrontation. So I guess it's up to the umpires to see whether they had enough time and space.
With Paprec in these situations, they can't afford to, you know, push their position too hard. They just have to keep sailing their course as best they can, because they're doing certainly 15, 16 knots coming down under spinnaker. So it'll be interesting to see how the umpires deal with that one. Anyway, the results for that race so far: Trinity winning, Alkedo Vitamina a good second place for him, for which we'll think will take them up to second overall. Sled third, a very, very much a counter, a good result for Allegra. I think their best results so far in this regatta. The German team, Platoon Aviation, it's kind of you know, they'll be happy to have put a good score on the board, but they were up there at points during that race, and their fifth, I think, isn't it, with Platoon Aviation, will be their equal best score so far at this regatta, but it could have been so much better. Teasing Machine, their best score for their race regatta here in Lanzarote. No way back again. Room for improvement, very definitely. Started well, got round the top mark in reasonable shape, and then kind of once again Robbie seemed to losing their place a little bit. Alpha Plus lost that consistent that had worked for them so far. Paprec, obviously from that start line, struggling a little bit, seemed to be quite in good position, but then it was all about the windward mark approach. Preveza, Crioula and Vayu 2 penalties, but really Robbie, food for thought. But Trinity Racing were superior in that race, weren't they? Yeah, absolutely. They kept it simple. You mentioned their start. They definitely got away clean and sort of definitely controlled the race from there. Really nice strategy just to keep it simple and shut down the race. And Edbed doing a good job of those top marks, of the shifty top marks as well. So definitely a good race for them, and interesting to see Sled as well picking up a really nice keeper. So that'll put them at the top of the leaderboard. A third then for Sled. They were a little bit deeper at some points, but really working hard, taking the opportunities they found on that final run to come away with a third. So Sled leading on 13 points, Paprec on 17, 1 point behind them is Alkedo Vitamina. It was close there. Looked at 1 point that Alkedo Vitamina would get up to second, but it's really close. Then a 5 point gap back to Alpha Plus. Platoon Aviation on 31 points, 33 for No Way Back. Trinity Racing, that win taking them up to 7th place. Can they continue the kind of charge they imposed in Porto Cervo last month? Allegra, their joint best score so far, opening with a 4th and a 4th there in that race. Vayu 12th, their worst score so far. Preveza really up and down, quite bumpy in general. Teasing Machine 6th, their best score so far by a long way. Then Crioula in a second, 11th place in a row, and then in 12th place, and then Gladiator, of course, unable to race. So that is how we're standing going through the midpoint of the regatta. Looking at the circuit standings, well, that is really very, very favourable if you're a Sled fan. 30 points clear at the midpoint of the season. Let's remember that for when we get to Valencia in October. 30 points clear at the midpoint of the season for Sled. They've won both regattas so far. They're leading this one, not by much. Alkedo Vitamina wanted to finish on the podium this season. They're second, only 3 points clear of Platoon Aviation. Alpha Plus a little bit further back. Paprec moving up the circuit standings. They too want to finish on the podium once again, so they have to really start pulling points back against Alkedo and Platoon Aviation, and that's no easy job at all. No Way Back then, 6th overall, 154, 157 for Trinity, 171 for Preveza. Crioula 189, 197. Allegra Vayu 202, 210 for Gladiator. Teasing Machine 217, Caballo Loco 272, and Vudu obviously not here. Neither are Caballo Loco. But Robbie Sled looking really, really strong for the season with a 30-point lead. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the second half of the season, isn't it? Because it could be a 60-point lead by the finish. It could be 2 points.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot more racing to go, and you know, this event obviously, and then the two afterwards. So absolutely anything could happen, Andy, and you know, they are in charge at the moment, but we'll see how that plays out.
I think we'll see how it plays out. I mean, it's interesting because there are teams which are very definitely going to get better in the second half of the season. I think, you know, potentially Paprec, Alpha Plus, Trinity Racing, their teams, and Platoon Aviation obviously, are going to be stronger in the second half of the season, having perhaps not quite been at their best the first two regattas of the season. So that's the circuit standings, the midpoint of the season. We're going to take a little bit of a break and be back with the next race in a few minutes' time here in Lanzarote.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
Honest and rational, watching you walk out felt natural. Thought we were written in the stars, I analyzed dreams and tarot cards. I try to find a remedy for broken hearts, but I know now losing you is my fresh start. To think I've got a degree in making myself smaller for you, and I have mastered the art of waiting on your every move. Thank God you're gone, get out. So long to think I ever believed I had to make myself smaller for you. You always thought you were the center of the universe, but baby, you lied to, you never learned. You're not the last and you're not the first. Don't open your mouth, you make things worse. To think I've got a degree in making myself smaller for you, and I have mastered the art of waiting on your every move. Thank God you're gone, get out. So long to think I ever believed I had to make myself smaller for you. Even on a good day, you're like crawling to a damaged space. Out of sync and out of tune. A frequency I can't undo. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone. Or soon you'll be a one-man man alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Why you look surprised when we've done this all before? I'm not sure the highs really make up for the lows. When words don't work and I get hurt, somehow I feel like I'm the worst. Manipulation overload, but babe, this time I'll steal the show. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone. Or soon you'll be a
There we go, as we said, midpoint of the season, midpoint of the regatta, race 5 done and dusted, but unfortunately the breeze on our race course, you can see AP over A, no more racing today. We're getting over 30 knot gusts on the race course. So once again, massive kudos to Maria Trijo, our race officer, pulling the race today forward to 11:30 start. That proved to give us just the perfect weather window to get one race in. We'd over 30 knots in the morning, and once again more than 30 knots just now. So unfortunately, our race team then just heading back to the safety, the sanctity of Marina Rubicon. There's going to be no further racing today, but a good race win then for Trinity and Sled strengthening their position at the top of the table. But Robbie, that was a good race win for Trinity, wasn't it? They won that pretty much off the start line and getting out to the right side early, keeping things super simple.
Yeah, that's right. Start to finish for Trinity Racing. They had a good start, as you mentioned, but yeah, they definitely kept it simple and were sailing really fast as well. So smart sailing all the way around the track. We had differences in pressure in that race as well. Definitely shifty at that top mark, but they did a really good job of handling that.
So that's good for the Swedish team. It moves them up the standings. They did a little bit of a tough regatta so far, but let's look at the standings, showing that Sled have taken over the regatta lead from Paprec, having basically two principal problems, but mainly, Robbie, it was the top mark, wasn't it, where they got stuck a little bit slowed at the protector mark, and then they seemed to do a double jibe after the offset mark, and that really cost them with that 9th.
Yeah, they just got caught up with the boats around them, and you know, double jibes in any conditions is costly, but especially in these ones as well, and they just got pushed back the fleet throughout the race. So not what we're accustomed to seeing from these guys, but you know, I'm definitely sure they'll debrief it and go for tomorrow.
Anyway, that's Paprec down in second now. Disappointing for them, and I think probably just equally disappointing as there's no second race today. They can bounce back. But anyway, 17 points for them, 18 for Alkedo Vitamina, getting away with that, or getting a good second there. Alpha Plus 23 after their pair of second places, an 8th today. Again, they had similar problems to Paprec in some respects. Platoon Aviation kind of woulda, coulda, they could have been better, but just had a couple of little problems, particularly down that final run, losing places. But all the credit to them, moving up the standings into 5th just now. No way back, pretty steady regatta all in all, not quite able to impose themselves in the top 3, top 4. 33 points, Trinity Racing 35. I say moving up the regatta standings. Allegra, same case for them with that 4th. Vayu in 12th, the Preveza 44. Really not, they've only had that one top 5 regatta result so far, and Teasing Machine slightly better. But overall, Katie, I mean, massive kudos to Maria Torija, our race team, getting out and getting the best weather window of the day, Katie, really, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was so impressive. The wind almost kind of like a switch after the finish. It just kind of really came in, backed up to 30 knots. And I mean, on my walk down to the marina this morning, my hair was basically flying off my head. Like it was so windy, and I was kind of like, oh, it's going to be a tricky one to get a race in. So impressive that we got a race in, and a really epic race as well. It wasn't like survival. It was proper racing. Everyone was super close, and yeah, like absolutely perfect timing from Maria today.
Anyway, I love that, Katie, your hair. We don't need an anemometer. We don't need digital wind speed readings. We just need Katie's hair.
Yeah, how far away my hair gets from my head is a good reference.
Anyway, I don't think, you know, teams will have wanted to get 2 races in, but it's a really tough, brutal week in terms of the physical and mental demands. I'm not too sure that there'll be, in fact, I think there'll be some teams who'll be quite glad to get a little bit of an afternoon pause, and then we go into Friday and Saturday, Robbie.
Yeah, that's right. They'll definitely get this chance to rest after only doing one race today, and we mentioned there's definitely more races to come, and I'm sure they'll get them in, but a good opportunity for these teams just to sort of, you know, settle back in, get that rest, and be firing for tomorrow, Andy.
Indeed, I think the forecast should be okay, but we are slightly concerned about Saturday's forecast, but you never really quite can tell out here in the Atlantic in these trade wind conditions. Certainly, Katie, we could do with a bit more sunshine. It's been very grey today, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been super grey all day, actually. I think at one point I thought the sun was going to come out, but it just hasn't. So yeah, a bit more sunshine if possible, I would like to request.
Indeed, well, let's look at the circuit standings. As I say, a key day in the season as we reach the equator, the midpoint. And as we just said before we stopped the previous broadcast, Sled then will finish the day with a 30-point lead, having won both regattas so far and now leading the third regatta of the season. 132 for Alkedo Vitamina, Platoon Aviation on 135. It's going to be a real great battle for the podium this year. Alpha Plus are 10 points behind, then Paprec 5 points behind them, 4 points behind them are No Way Back. Trinity Racing poised on 157, then a little bit more of a gap to Provezza, Crioula, Allegre, Vayu, Gladiator, Teasing Machine, Caballo Loco and Vudu. So that's the circuit standings. I think we're going to take a little bit of a break ourselves this afternoon, regroup and be all ready, all poised, all shiny, ready for Friday. And I'd imagine the breeze will be in, all the teams just heading into this wonderful Marina Rubicon. And we'll join you tomorrow for the penultimate day of racing here in Lanzarote. 2 back-to-back regattas. This Marina Rubicon regatta here in July, and then August we move up the coast for the second event. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Fingers crossed.
Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
If it's love or talking, you ain't really frying. You do the walk and talk the talk, but drop it. Pull me back, you left me there, I'm falling. Stop, the hell are you going? I'ma hold me up, I'll get myself together. Who'd have thought without you I'd be better?